Hey, Jerry, good seeing you. Great work on that last mission there. Ah, thanks, Frank. You too. Can't believe you took down 6 Bile Titans. Well, that's about all we have in common. What to talk about now? Hey, did you hear about the new Terminids bug they found? No, I haven't. What's it do? Oh, you know, it just shoots tentacles into the ground, which pop up all over the battlefield, chopping Helldivers in half. You know what? I'm a Helldiver. That doesn't sound good for me. You know what I did hear about, though? Did you hear the automatons have a new tank? No, I didn't. What's that one do? It shoots a whole barrage of rocket artillery at us. Ooh, you know, that's not good for us either. Well, I think I'm gonna call my wife, because there's no way we make it through this next mission. Yeah, I'm gonna do that too. See you later, Jerry. Alright, the Helldivers devs just dropped a new trailer called Escalation of Freedom that has some fascinating lore tidbits I want to dig into. There's new bugs, there's new bots to fight, there's no Illuminate yet, which is genuinely a little surprising. Now, considering that I love digging into the lore of this game, there's some fascinating bits of information we can pick out of this trailer to learn more about the Helldivers universe. I'm gonna start out here with the enemy I am most excited to talk about, the new Terminids enemy. It's called the Impaler, and it's not actually new to the Helldivers universe. And in Helldivers 1, this was a fearsome enemy to face. It would shoot tentacles into the ground, they'd pop out all over the place and just start bopping you around. And based on the trailer here, it looks like that is exactly what it's going to do in Helldivers 2, except it is way bigger than in Helldivers 1. If we put these two side by side here, it's kind of tough to tell in the Helldivers 1 clip because of the different camera angle, but it looks like this is maybe 2-3 times the size of a Helldiver. Helldivers 2 here, yeah, that thing's like 10 times taller. It's ridiculous. This thing must have gotten juiced up in the mutation process when they were making all the Terminids into, you know, little oil bugs and whatnot. But the fact that this bug hasn't shown up yet on the battlefield raises a very interesting question. What we know about the Terminids so far is they were modified to create element 710, and then they all broke free and started causing chaos. So why haven't we seen this yet? Has it been burrowing underground, hiding, it's just now coming up? But why would it? I think there's a different reason. I suspect humanity was not using these for creating element 710 like all the other bugs. I'm gonna take a wild guess. These tentacles here, if I was trying to dig down and mine up metal ore for making spaceships and whatnot, this thing would be much better than trying to use a shovel to dig it up by hand. I'm thinking humanity actually used these as mining bugs, and they just threw them around the galaxy on ore-rich planets that we haven't fought on yet, and we're just now seeing them because we're just getting to those planets. Now, whatever lore-based reason is, we're just seeing them now. That's not what matters. You want to know how to fight them. You want to know how to take these bugs down. And luckily, there's a very easy way. In Helldivers 1, when this bug would shoot its tentacles into the ground, it would leave its face exposed. And if you got a good rocket hit right there on the noggin, boom, it's done for. And looking how the bug looks in Helldivers 2, that it's got the exact same setup, 3 tentacles, big face, I suspect that's going to be a way to take this out. Don't bother fighting the tentacles, go straight for the bug. It's probably going to leave itself open for attack once its tentacles are in the ground. Oh my god, Frank, what happened to you? Why are you stuck under that crate? Jerry, oh my god, thank you. You gotta help me. You gotta get this thing off me. That's way too heavy for me to lift. The only way I can think to get you out from under there is if people like this video. What? That doesn't make any sense. You heard right, everyone. If you don't like the video, the shipping container stays on Frank. And if you want to help move that shipping container even faster, consider hitting that subscribe button. But this is not the only new bug we have to contend with here. There is something they're calling the Spore Charger, and it looks like it's covered in all sorts of little spore spewing things that make a big cloud of spores you can't see through. Now, a charger is nothing new. We know what that is, but why is this charger here covered in little bumps that spew spores all over the place? I suspect this is related to the TCS missions. The Terminator control system probably heavily mutated some chargers and created this new breed that spews spores all over the place. Because we know there's spore towers for Terminids that leave fog all over the place, and I'm guessing create new Terminids. I don't really know how the spores work into the lore yet, to be honest. But these here are almost like a mobile spore tower. Now, for whatever reason the Terminids use these spores, it must be beneficial for them to have them on the move and following packs of Terminids around. And what better way to have these move around than to put them on a heavily armored charger? Now, I suspect they're the Terminids. They weren't thinking, ooh, which bug should we get really close to this control tower here and mutate it to get spores all over the place? Because this thing's mutating us, making it more powerful. Now, the bugs aren't thinking like that. Unless there's a hive mind that actually is making these decisions. But that's not to the point. It's probably more likely than not there just happened to be a pack of chargers around one of these towers, and they all got mutated like this, and it worked out real well, so they started reproducing like that. Now, the next faction we can pull some new interesting lore tidbits from this trailer are the automatons, because it's the only other faction. but there actually is genuinely some interesting lore here. In the video, we see something that I want to cover quick that is fascinating to me. It is an automaton repair facility. You see in just this one short little clip, there's an actual robotic arm working on this destroyed tank. That means that the automatons are thinking. They are not unthinking robots. If they were unthinking robots, they would not put any effort into repairing anything. They would just make something new. But the fact that they took the time to sit down and try to salvage some of their equipment that was damaged during battle proves that they have some thoughts in there. And if you go check out my earlier automatons video, they might just have human brains in there too. But we're here to talk about new stuff, and repairing things, well, interesting to the lore is not exciting. Now what is exciting is this giant tank that shoots rockets all over the place. By exciting, I mean terrifying. Because previously before the automatons, they had artillery. This is nothing new. They had those big towers that would lob shells at you over hills and whatnot. And it gave you an alert that said you are being targeted by automaton artillery. And it's kind of a joke in the community that, well, we're just going to keep running because they're not going to hit us anyways because there's one large shell. Yeah, these tanks might change that. They might be an actual concern because it does not look like they shoot one shell. It looks like they shoot like 20 rockets at you at once, which is a wider range of fire and, you know, a wider range to hit you in. I think these things are going to be awful to deal with if they start targeting you while you're trying to hold a mission objective, type some things into a computer, because you can't just dodge the one shell. You've got to dodge the whole area, which means you might even have to like back off of an objective for a while to take this thing out. Otherwise, it's just going to keep pummeling you. And I'm suspecting here that these things won't be too heavily armored. They're probably going to have a weak point in the back. You can shoot it once and it'll go boom. But they're still going to be a nightmare to deal with, I think, here. Now, how do I think the automatons building a new tank works into the lore of the automatons themselves? This is actually fascinating because I suspect the automatons realized that their artillery was not very accurate. They weren't getting many Helldivers with it. It wasn't doing much for them. They were putting a lot of effort to building these big artillery things, and they did more or less nothing. So they decided, we're not very accurate. We can't try to get more accurate because we don't want to bother with that. Instead, we're going to go for volume of fire, which actually provides a little bit more evidence to something I discussed heavily in my automatons video, that the automatons more likely than not have human brains in them, because what's the Helldivers philosophy? Volume of fire. You shoot lots of bullets at something, you shoot lots of cannons at something, it'll eventually go away. So if the automatons are following a similar practice, it's more likely than not they still have some of that human mindset in there. But, much like the Terminids here, this is not the only new automaton enemy. We've got another interesting one here. There was the Walker previously, which just had a guy sitting on the back out in the open. There's a new Walker. This Walker here, fully armored, covered up it looks like. At least we can see from the video. We can't see the backside, so maybe there's still an opening like the other one. But we can see for sure is that it's got missiles now. The missiles scare me. I'm not sure if these are going to be like the artillery ones that aren't guided, but I'm concerned that they might be guided missiles just based on how they look, and it's still got the big cannons. So this thing could be much scarier to deal with. But it brings up an interesting thought of that the automatons are definitely trying to upgrade their equipment. They realize, okay, yeah, those Walker things we had before, the Helldivers just run behind us and take them out. Like, it's not working right. So they thought, let's armor it, let's give it more weapons. They're thinking, they're scheming. I don't like that they're scheming. And there is one more enemy that the automatons are not necessarily adding to the game for us to fight, but if we look at the end screen from the trailer here, the very last picture, the Escalation of Freedom picture, you look in the upper left, that is a massive spaceship. That is not the normal dropship. That there is a gigantic spaceship. Now, it's not necessarily news the automatons have spacecraft. We know they're spacefaring because they can invade other planets, which raises some interesting questions about how the Terminids invade other planets, because I don't think they have spaceships. They're bugs. Maybe they break free from cages or something. Who knows? Not the point right now. We're getting a view of the automaton spaceships finally. This must be how they transport themselves through space to attack new planets. But the question is, how could they affect the battlefield? Now, currently, they do not have any sort of things that they call in, but it'd be real interesting if these acted like super destroyers before the automatons. So maybe there's some high-level automatons on the ground, kind of like the commissars that keep things running, calling new bot drops. But what if they called in orbital bombardments, or they called in an airstrike or something like that? That'd be kind of interesting. So it acts kind of like the Helldivers do, except on the automaton side of things, and they're attacking us. And one final tidbit from the trailer that brings up some interesting thoughts is the new mission type they're adding. I'm gonna call it the steal the baby bug, because you're picking up larvae from a planet and bringing it back to be studied. But the question is, why exactly is Super Earth taking these larvae? Now, the obvious answer here is they want to study them, which makes sense. Of course they want to study them. You got to study your enemy bugs, but I'm wondering if they want to study them for the purpose of how humans have modified mosquitoes in the past so that they can send out mosquitoes back out there, But since they can't mate properly, they just take out the whole population. So maybe Super is trying to do a similar thing. They gotta capture these bug larvae so they can study them, and maybe send out some genetically goofy ones back out to take out the rest of the Terminids through non-violent means. I also want to take a moment to appreciate it in the trailer here. The main character holding the bug absolutely smokes his teammate instead of the bug behind him. Great shooting there. Keep up the good work. But I think that's enough yapping on about the new update for now. It looks insane. It looks like it's gonna be a lot of fun to play, and it looks like it's gonna be super challenging. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd love if you have a like down below, and if you're looking to see more content like this, I'd love you considering that subscribe button. It really helps support my channel. Thanks, and I'll see you guys next time.